that first year, we doubled our revenue and our member numbers. So we doubled the gym in the first year. And then we've seen 50% growth the year after that.
Hello and welcome to this episode of the Gym Owners Forum podcast. As usual, I'm Tom, and today we're going to be joined by Harry Morris, who is the co-owner with his brother of FS46, or Fitness Studio 46, which is a small group personal training facility. And Harry's technically already appeared on the podcast before in our Elevate episode. And the reason that I've asked him to come back is actually he had so many good things to say about why he'd had success with his gym, about things like really standardizing your processes, really pushing that community feel and that member experience, that positive member experience. And he said that was kind of a testament to why and where he was at today. So without further ado, let's jump straight into it. Harry, first ever second time guest actually on the podcast.
Wow, first repeat guest.
Bit of a technicality, but 1.5 repeat guest, I think, or something like that. Thank you so much for joining us today. You're a bit of a start of a new era for the Gym Owners Forum, it's very clear that peer-led gym owner stories are kind of what everyone responds best to. That makes it sound like we've done loads of market research, but to be honest, it's just that I think that is just fact. Enough yapping from me. Who are you? We'll do this again, actually. Yeah, who are you? What do you do? Take it away.
Awesome. Well, as you said, my name's Harry Morris. I'm the owner of Fitness Studio 46 that has recently rebranded actually to FS46. So we said it's a bit like HSBC. You know, they're the Hong Kong Shanghai Bank Corporation.
I didn't know that actually.
Nobody does. But yeah, we were Fitness Studio 46. We've gone to FS46. It's a small group personal training gym. We are just south of Birmingham and we coach at a 1-to-6 ratio of coach to client.
Okay. Can you dive into a little bit of 1-to-6, so one coach, so it's like small group classes? Sorry, I know that sounds like a stupid question, but
no, exactly. 1-to-6. So there'll be one coach in the room. We can train up to 6 people at once, and we describe it like it's like a 1-to-1 personal training session, but in a group setting. So every workout's customized to the person that's in the room, and we'll train around their injuries, their goals, their preferences. And we'll be able to do that up to 6 people in a single hour session.
That's interesting. So how did you decide on the 1-to-6? Why was that? I mean, obviously there's kind of the idea that you can just do more people, but was there any kind of more thinking or kind of reasoning for that?
Yeah, well, we originally started with 1-to-4 and then COVID happened. So what we did when the social distancing was in place, we actually segmented the gym by the main piece of equipment in the gym because it's a very small gym floor that we have. It's just under 700 square feet. So we split the gym by equipment pieces and there happened to be 6 zones. So we realized we could have one person in each zone training at a safe distance. And then that took our capacity from 4 to 6. And I think it actually turns out that was a pretty smart thing to do because I read an industry report on like the most profitable training models, and 1-to-6 seems to be like that sweet spot.
Yeah, because I suppose it's that fine line between, as you say, like personalizing the program and just neglecting people.
Exactly.
Away from it. Yeah,
exactly. If you go much more than that, you lose the personalization, or not necessarily lose it, but it gets a bit tougher.
No, that's good. So I mean, to be honest, I was going to say something about High Rocks. It sounds like you kind of preempted High Rocks a little bit in circuit training and that kind of blow up. So you were prepped for it. Sorry, that's my fault.
Sorry.
But I guess that some people call it a fad. Some people think it is literally like amazing. Where do you kind of stand on that High Rocks element? Because it sounds like you're pretty well set up for it. Is that a thing?
So I would say we're quite different to High Rocks in the sense of we're just more strength. Like there isn't a conditioning component to it. But I think the group model, like obviously it started with CrossFit, didn't it? And then I think your CrossFit has started to drop off a little bit. High Rocks has clearly took over. But from just a training perspective, we're more like your typical, what you would see 1-to-1 strength workout. But I think you still benefit from the community side, which High Rocks has.
Yeah.
So yeah, you get that real good community feel in the gym, which is great for the clients.
I mean, yeah, it's something that we kind of really hammer home. And to be honest, if you can dive into community and how you build that as much as possible, throughout the questions later, that'd be fantastic as well. But I think one thing that I do find very unique about you, I guess. That's there's a
In a good
question
way.
coming, yeah, in a good way. Is that obviously I met you at Elevate,
Yep.
and that's where I kind of heard about Business for Unicorns as well. And um, I in one of my emails that I sent to Harry before mentioned something about BFU seems very American, and you were like, it's literally sales. What are you talking about? I was like, yeah, you know, a fair point. And I think that what I meant by that is actually, I think sales isn't like business, like trying to get my words out, but business systems and processes and sales processes aren't necessarily, in my opinion, utilized that much within the fitness industry in the UK. And I think
Right.
America as a industry
Mhm.
are much better at that. And they're kind of 5 years ahead with a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
So how have you found that the BFU and sales processes that you've kind of implemented, and I think we'll dive into this much more, but just at a very base level to start with,
Sure.
how have you found that like implementing sales systems and processes into your gym has helped you kind of get to where you are today, really?
That makes a lot more sense
Yeah,
as I
yeah.
hear you say it than the email. So bit of context. BFU, Business for Unicorns. They are a coaching group for gyms. So we've got some UK versions. They're an American coaching group, and they do a little bit. They'll coach people from anywhere really. Like
Mm,
the principles transfer. But one thing that they do, and I do agree with you, is I think the American small group personal training gyms are slightly ahead in terms of sale processes. And I think as British people, what we hate to feel is like we're being sold to. And I think a lot of resistance for gym owners, again, this is just sort of my opinion, is they don't want it to feel robotic or scripted or like they're pushing someone to join their gym. And what BFU do really well is they do give you sort of frameworks and systems on how to have a good sales conversation, but it's all based on building value and deepening relationships. And often the best sales conversations are the ones where you don't sign someone up and you can just signpost them somewhere else. So it's really just learning to have that human um, moment in the sales process. Obviously, on the front end, there's forms and stuff that people can fill out, and you might have an AI response. But when you get to that human touch, it's just having like some set processes of how you have that conversation to eventually build the relationship, build the value, and then if it's a good fit, then get them in.
I think one thing that people often miss as well is like when you're selling, people just think like it's like that sell this pen kind of thing where it's like sell this pen, they're like, it's a great pen, it's blue ink, it's blah blah blah. And actually it's about asking questions, and that's
Mhm.
how you like deepen that personal relationship. I mean, I've heard it about a million times, but is that something that you kind of have shifted now to when you're trying to onboard someone, it's a lot more about like them and asking them the questions rather than selling your gym membership?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Even down to like, there's no real reference of like what kit we have in the gym. Like if you go on our website, it doesn't say we're a 700 square foot gym. We've got this primal strength equipment. Like there's nothing to do with the gym. It's all focused at the person in front of us. So really it's getting to, we call it peeling the onion, but we're trying to ask questions where we're understanding what that person wants and seeing how fitness and working at FS46 can slot into that.
I think that leads quite nicely onto what I was going to ask about, like business fundamentals. And I think business fundamentals doesn't really mean anything if you just say business fundamentals. But like, what does business fundamentals mean to you specifically? What are the things you kind of really have to get right in order to have success? And I mean, sales is obviously part of that, but
Yeah.
what else is there?
So I think the key components and the way we chop it up is marketing, sales. Then you've got like the operational side of things. So even down to like how you run payroll, how you'll look at lease renewals, um, who's responsible for those things as well. So in terms of the operations, it's not just having a clear list of all the jobs that need to be done on a week or a month or within a year, but having the accountability of who's responsible for those things. And even down to the weekly team meeting, just keeping the communication open where if issues are coming up, they're able to be dealt with. So we've got like the marketing, the sales, the operations, the client experience, and then you've also got the team development side of things. Those are kind of the five big buckets that we look at.
You were a personal trainer from 18 and kind of that naturally progressed into FS46. Sorry, yeah. I mean,
Correct.
I'm getting used to the HSBC now, but
Yeah.
you've thrown me off. But obviously, like starting as a PT, I think there's that natural like change from just being a PT to actually, as you say, running those 5 kind of pillars of your business.
Mm.
How do you navigate? How do you navigate like what to do in each of those? Where
Yeah.
was your kind of? How did you figure those out? Basically, yeah.
Yeah. Well, as you said, I started personal training when I was 18. I'm 27, I think, something around there now.
Same.
Oh, there we go. Were
Nice.
you born in 98?
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was.
there
When's
you
your
go.
birthday?
In May.
Oh, July. Fair enough. You're
July.
older than me.
Yeah, slightly got you a little bit, Tom.
I've got a
Um,
couple months to get married.
yeah, yeah,
God.
you got time. But yeah, I was 18. One of the things I was always interested in was business. So I studied business, media, and PE in sixth form. Realized that a business A level doesn't teach you anything about running a business. And then I joined,
Yeah, valid.
yeah, I did. I then joined Phil Learney's Advanced Coaching Academy. I know he's been on the podcast. Shout out to Phil.
Shout out, Phil.
So
ACO.
yeah, the ACA, which was great, and that gave me like a bit of a window of how to start running my business as a self-employed personal trainer, which was out of a pure gym. And then we opened FS46, which at the time was Fitness Studio 46, and COVID hit, and the business just got pounded. We had the very realistic conversation of closing everything and just going to get normal jobs.
Yeah.
Um, and at that point, we sort of like we were looking at the finances, and we could have just sold some equipment, split the money 2 ways because I'm in business with my brother,
Yeah.
my younger brother, who I own the gym with, and we could have just split the money and walked away and started over. And that's when I bumped into BFU. So I went to it was an IFBA conference in Warwick I think it was 2021, and met Mark Fisher and I met Pete Dupuy, and we said, are we going to close it or do we just get in touch with these guys? Because I was very suspect about working with business coaches. Because
Yes.
as I said, people don't like to be sold to.
That's fair.
So I jumped on a call and they said, well, you could absolutely sell the equipment, split the money, walk away. Or you could take the money you were going to split, you could invest it in some coaching, see if it actually works for you. And if it does, you've saved your gym. And if it doesn't, then you walk away with nothing, but like at least you tried. So that's what we did. And then they have been instrumental in helping us build out those business fundamentals from there. So just really looking at the business through the lens of building systems.
On a bit of a deeper level, I guess, why did you decide to kind of, I know he said that like, stop doing that. I know he said that, like take the risk and if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out.
Mm.
Why did you decide that it was kind of, it was worth the risk of doing that? What kind of reasoning was it in your head?
Have you ever heard the term sunken cost fallacy?
No.
And it's essentially, I hope that I'm correct here, but I think it's essentially, it's like you've invested so much into something that you can't walk away from it because you're like, well, I've put all this work in, and often the best thing is just to walk away. So that was kind of where I was at. I was like, am I just doing this because I've been on this path since I was 16? And at that time, I was newly married and had a baby on the way. And I was like, am I just holding on to this dream and I should actually just step away? And it was just that little bit of logic from Ben on that sales call. And he's like, you could walk away. I wasn't going to leave with any debt. So like I could have just walked away with nothing,
Yeah.
and I gave it everything I had. So I think that was just that little bit of the emotional, it wasn't giving up. I
Yeah.
wasn't prepared to give up. Like we were a couple of yards away and there was still this one big thing we hadn't tried.
And I think, so like, I mean, again, it's kind of maybe an obvious question, but what helped you get over the line? Was it the BFU kind of just guidance on asking them, like, this is the problems we're having, and they kind of just like held your hand a little bit on it and took you that way?
100%. Yeah, it's coaching. Is the reason I've got a business full stop is like if someone's fitness isn't going well, you can sit down with someone who knows that path and they can help you look at everything that you're currently doing. They know the traits of successful people and where you should invest your time and energy. And it was just being coached through that and being told like, you know what, this is normal and it's hard running a business, but you've got a really good product here. You've got a great community. Clearly like it's loved by your clients. So you just need a couple of things in place to help this thing scale. And we just started one by one chipping away at those systems, and it's still here.
Yeah, no, fair enough. And to be honest, it's an attribute to the success, I think, of that kind of, we were talking about before, growth mindset, and
Mm.
just that ability to accept that, like, well, I'll say we, because I don't either, like, we don't know everything. And actually, it is listening to those people that, even if they're wrong, it's still it's still taking it on board and logically thinking why it's wrong. And it's clear that obviously through doing that, you've now have FS. You need some new jumpers,
I need
actually.
a
I've
new
just
jumper,
realized.
yeah,
Yeah.
FS46. We literally just rebranded, so I need some. The hoodies are on order.
So, I mean, like, obviously it's a tribute to that success that you guys are still here today. And actually, you have a lot to, you're now doing stuff with the BFU guys and talking at shows and networking with them. And actually it's like those partnerships and that growth mindset and that acceptance that support is good, that's kind
Yeah.
of got you here.
100%. Coaches need coaches.
Yeah.
If you look at the top performing people in the world, they all have coaches. I always say Roger Federer's like the best tennis player to ever play the game, in my opinion. And he's clearly better than his coach.
Yeah.
And yet you still need one, because it's just somebody to sense check ideas. And if you coach well, it's not that you're being told what to do, it's that that person can draw out of you what you need to do. So it all comes from you. It's just a good coach will facilitate that and ask the right questions and give you the right frameworks to help you actually do what you need to do.
Yeah. And I mean, again, obvious question. I'm asking all the other questions today, but was it a lot of work? Like, what did you, yes, I know the answer is yes, but like, what did you really have to, like kind of dig deep and just actually put those hours in? What was your kind of motivation to do that?
That's an excellent question. It was a lot of work. And the key stages of it were, number one, we had to try and organize the systems of the business. So it's like those 5 buckets that I shared, just mapping out what systems we had and which ones we were missing. The biggest one was just getting data around the gym. So we have a spreadsheet with all of our metrics, all of our KPIs, how many leads we've had, how many conversations we've had, what the conversion rate is on those conversations, our average member revenue, our retention, our attrition. We've got like all of it mapped in a spreadsheet, which I fill out every single week. And then we started just making decisions based on that data. And it's the data led decision making that was really like the key thing. And then combining that with a series of annual planning, quarterly planning, and weekly team meetings, so that we were every single week we were moving towards getting that data to look better.
It was very kind of mind blowing, just like how many decisions that I make in work and everything, just based on like gut and what you're thinking. And obviously, like, gut is probably 50% of it, maybe a bit less, maybe a bit more even. But that data, making those data informed decisions, it turns such a subjective thing into like a completely objective thing. And I mean, Toby's talk at the Gym Owners Workshop, for example, was just about how they've used data to actually just realize where they are and actually realize where they need to be. One thing that I will ask the question on is data. The data, you have all the data in a spreadsheet, and it's kind of like, where do you go from there? How do you come to the decision of like, that's what we go at, that member revenue is what we want to kind of boost and target now?
There's 2 stages to that, really. One, we review the data, myself and Hugo. So like the leadership team will look at the data, and then we can start just testing stuff. So it's like, oh, well, we got 8 leads last month. We only converted 4 of them. Is there anything we can do in the sales process to bump that percentage up? So that will just be trial and error. But the cool thing about working with coaches, and why working with BFU has been so great for us, is you can bounce that out to hundreds of other gym owners, and obviously the coaches as well, who are here having these conversations all the time. So you can just show those numbers, and somebody would be like, "Oh, your attrition's at 7%. Like, how come? Ideally, we want that below 5. Like, is there any reason why people are leaving? Is there anything you can do within the gym to just push retention a bit more? Maybe like a challenge or a social event or something, just to sort of plug that hole." So you kind of just watching the pulse of it every single week and coming up with these different ways to correct it. But you don't want to chase every single data point. You can't be reactive to the data. So that's where like the annual, quarterly planning comes in, because we've got set projects that we'll be working on. So we try not to get distracted by the data, but we're working on these key projects at any one time to hopefully see a trend in the data getting better.
Yeah, no, I mean, it can be very easy to get lost in like the membership count and the vanity metrics more than anything else.
Yeah.
And actually, it's about, yeah, as you say, digging deeper into that and making more long-term projects. It's quite good what you said about not being reactive,
Mhm.
because actually it's very easy to look at a statistic, be like, all the members are leaving because like I spilt a drink in the coffee room last week or whatever. I mean, a terrible example, but it like it might just be that's a shift in the industry. And
Could have been a fluke week.
yeah,
Yeah, could have
exactly.
been a fluke week. So you don't want to like lose your mind over the data, but when you plot it out as an average, it tends to even out. So you want to be proactive with the data. Um, and really from that point, as soon as we got the data in and we got the quarterly planning and the annual planning in place and the weekly team meeting in place, I think that first year we doubled our revenue and our member numbers. So we doubled the gym in the first year. And then we've seen 50% growth the year after that. And I think it was 40% growth the year after that. And we were on again for like another 35% this year. So it's just gone from strength to strength.
So that leads us very nicely onto the product and what the service you actually offer is. I think we've come kind of full circle a little bit, but obviously the group training, I had a look at your website. I've been obviously aware of you guys for a while, and another kind of American thing that the BFU guys, and I'm suggesting, guessing that you've maybe taken from them, is like the zero risk trial,
Hmm.
and it's that is like a way of getting leads through the door. I didn't actually know. Can you just outright just pay for the program without doing the zero risk free trial, or is that kind of part of the process?
So yeah, we don't have anybody join the monthly recurring memberships unless they've done like a front end offer,
Yeah,
which that there's the 30-day results in advance trial that you're referring to, the zero risk one. That's like our year round. And then we'll run small little seasonal offers as well based
yeah,
on stuff. So we might do like a 2-week offer, but our evergreen is that 30-day
yeah.
trial, and you have to do it before you join the groups.
What was your decision making in making that the standard for you? And then, like, yeah, why did you do that?
Yeah, no, excellent
Yeah,
question. And I get like you use the term like it's more American. Again, I think it they're a little bit further ahead in that buying process,
yeah.
and it is just the try before you buy thing. Like before, when we did it, we would just give someone a free session, or we'd give them a 3 weeks trial. Um, and what we found was like conversion on that was not very good. I think when something's free, people don't value it. Um, and I think it was so short, like a single session or a week session, that they didn't they're kind of just finding their feet as they come through the facility. And like maybe they've not trained in 20 years. So like there's a lot going on. Whereas the 30-day trial, the one that we're running at the minute, we have excellent conversion on that. I did write it down. I think it's 86%.
Oh wow.
I,
Okay.
I think I'll get it on my phone.
Go on, whip
I'll,
it
I'll
out. Yeah.
quickly check because I didn't want it to be wrong. 87.5 from
You can
trial.
round that up to. Oh no, you did say 86.
87.5
Yeah. Okay.
is the number.
There you go.
Yeah, so
Good.
so like it converts really, really well because if someone's paid, we say it's risk free because we will genuinely give them their money back if they're not interested. I
Okay.
I view it as like a placeholder. So like if someone comes in and they're not a good fit, um, or it's just not what they thought it was, I'd sooner just give them all the money back. So we've had to do that twice, I think, where it's not been the right fit for someone. And then they'll have done their 30 days. So they're part of the community. They've got their name up on the whiteboard. They've met people. They've had some experiences, some laughs. And then we kind of do it as a Netflix close. So it just runs over into one of our standard memberships based on a form they fill out at the start.
A Netflix close.
A
I've not
Netflix
heard that.
close.
I like a Netflix close. It
there
makes it
there is
sound.
no close. It
It,
just goes.
it makes it sound very enjoyable for the person as well, which is
Yeah, yeah.
good. Yeah, okay. So I'd see, because when it was zero risk, I just thought it was like, it's only 30 days, but obviously the money back thing obviously does make it zero risk, which is
Yeah.
completely fair enough. And the conversion rates have boosted massively, which is really interesting. And I think my question following up from that would be, is that something that you kind of recommend to everyone, for everyone to do? Because obviously I know that you're small group personal training, but is that a model that could kind of be applied to larger scale gyms? Is that something that you even kind of have an opinion on, I guess?
I think so. I think paid trial tend in from what I hear speaking to other gym owners, I think a paid trial tends to just be valued more and converts better. Um, I think you can drop the risk by being prepared to give them the money back. That's how we see that. But it links back to the data led decisions, because if you've got the data, you can see how well it converts. So I could change that trial offer at any time. Maybe let's say I did like a free 14-day trial, and if the numbers dropped, then I made a mistake. So I'll
Yeah.
just put it back. And I think that's really the power of that. That's running the gym as a business owner, as opposed to just a PT who's got a space. Is being able to look at those numbers and understand those conversion rates, because that's why we got the confidence to give them the money back. And we'll buy that member a t-shirt. We buy them their favorite drink, so get them like a prosecco or something. We'll get them a mug, and I could easily spend the £97 just trying to onboard someone, because our average revenue per member is like far in excess of that.
Yeah.
So then you're not afraid to put the money up front to market and give that person a really incredible experience, because you know that on average it's going to come off in 10x what you've spent.
Well, yeah, I think if the conversion's what, 87.5, I think you said, like
Yeah,
the two people kind of are just,
it's
yeah,
cancelled out.
dust in the wind. So I'm going to be a bit of a Debbie Downer here. And I think that in like a larger scale model gym, my initial kind of pushback on you saying it's applicable everywhere would be that, like, with yourself, I think if someone applies for the refund or whatever you want to call it, you'll kind of recognize them if they try and come in again, and it's a very personalized experience. Whereas actually in
Yes.
a larger scale gym where maybe that personalization is not as possible, it's probably easier for them to slip through the cracks and try a new email or something. And that is not me like poo-pooing on it at all, because I think actually there's probably a way around it some way. And I don't expect to speak on the large gyms also, as it's not really a forte. But for the small group personal training, that just kind of makes me think, is there anything that's necessarily negative about using that kind of model of zero risk, pay up front, and you can get the money back at the end?
Oh, that's a good question, Tom. That's a good question.
You can say no.
Is there a risk? I don't think so, and I think it is that scalability. I think if you screen the person and you know who they are. So like, I'm just trying to think, like, from my own experience. We had a guy who applied 4 times under 4 different emails, but like he wouldn't come. He came in for like a conversation, and he's like, yeah, I'll sign up, and he left, and then he never joined, and then he got a new email and he tried again, but because you have to come in through
Yeah.
one of us. Like, you can't just walk into the facility. I don't know why he tried 4 times, in all
Yeah,
honesty,
it's mental.
which is crazy. So I think, yeah, if you've got if you're seeing that person's face, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
And I think it's tough to abuse. And really, I would rather like avoid the 1-star Google review. I'd give them more than the money back. I'd just be like, please just go away
Don't come
quietly.
back ever
Yeah,
again.
yeah, please just go away quietly. So I think it's very difficult to abuse like a paid trial system if there's the human touch,
Yeah.
which I understand in a larger gym that might not be as possible.
And but I think again, that's kind of a testament to one of the pros of running that small group personal training, is that, like, because it's the personalization, because it's the community, it's a lot easier to miss stuff like that. And I think I want to kind of dive into the community aspect of it a little bit more, because you touched on it with the prosecco and the coffee in the coffee shop. And maybe I've heard that previously actually, but yeah, that
Yeah, you're correct.
mate, I listen. And I think can you dive into just a little bit about how you make that experience so special for a specific member, or use member A for example, how that experience is made special for them, and how you kind of ingrain them in part of the community. Um, Scrap that. I'm going to ask you, what does community mean in a gym first, and then we'll go
Oh,
into that.
awesome. Community in a gym, to me, is everything. It's everything. It's everything on the back end. So like, we don't necessarily sell the community aspect too hard up front, because most people, when they're looking to join a gym, it's more for the fat loss, or to get stronger, or to get out of pain, or to feel more energized. So that's kind of where our marketing is. But once they're in, like, the thing that keeps them there is the community. It's feeling part of something. It's being excited to go and train. It's the social accountability of, they'll make friends and they'll know, like, oh, so and so's at that 6 o'clock workout. Like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go. And we have clients now, like, they meet up outside of the gym and they'll go get drinks together and check in on each other. They're quite involved.
Yeah, fair.
So I think it's like, to me, it's everything. It's a huge retention tool. It keeps the gym exciting and fun, and it kind of like as much as we facilitate it, it kind of just has evolved into its own thing, based on who's in.
That's kind of, I mean, yeah, community is a funny thing because it's like people that say like we've got a great community in the gym. It's like me saying I have loads of friends. I think it's subjective, and I might think loads is three, and
Yes.
it's that kind of thing. So it is a very subjective thing, and I think what you're saying of it all starts across everything,
Hmm.
and I guess my going back to the previous question is like, is community something that you foster yourself, or is it just something that naturally occurs from making sure everything around you in the gym's working properly?
Yeah, it's a bit of both. It's a little bit of both. So we do certain things to foster the community, um, and like you say, it's like it's not always quantifiable. Like you can't put numbers to a community feel, but it's more that subjective, like the feedback. It's in the Google reviews. It's that like feel of your gym. So a couple of things we do to facilitate it. One you already hinted at, which was the coffee. So I'm fortunate that my older brother owns the coffee shop opposite the gym.
Oh, you missed that one out actually
Yeah.
when you were talking about it.
So that's like again, a local independent coffee shop. That's a community driven business as well.
Mhm.
So we kind of leverage both of those communities. So when people are looking at joining fitness studio, FS46,
Yes.
my apologies.
Oh God.
They'll it's brand new. I'm getting used to it myself. They will fill out a form to contact a coach. That's all ran through a Pointlet. Um, I won't get into software,
That's fair.
but that's all ran through a Pointlet. So they get two options. They can either book on Zoom or they can actually book a coffee. And then we will find out their usual coffee shop order. So they might put like decaf flat white. And when they come into the coffee shop, I'll have their coffee waiting. We'll have a great conversation, talk about their health and fitness, how they might want to join. And my basis of whether or not I'll extend a trial to someone is if I can enjoy that coffee with them. If I'm sat there and I'm just like, I'm hating every minute of this, then I won't offer that person a trial. And I think that protects the community because we're not letting people in who are like intolerable. So I'll call it the coffee test. So if I sit down and I have a great time over coffee with someone, then they've got a place in my gym. I think that protects the community. And then once they're through the door, then like we start layering that stuff in. So they'll go and sign their name on the board. Obviously they get the welcome gift. They'll get follow up texts. We send them videos. We put them in a Facebook group. We'll send them success clients testimonials. So like we'll send them success stories of other clients that they can watch and they might see that person in the gym. So they already feel sort of connected to that person. So those are like the systems that we have where we just kind of like bringing them in gently, making it feel like they're part of the space and that they own the space and they're a really key integral part. And then the longer that they're there, they'll come to a social event, they'll meet other members, and then that's how we facilitate it. But then the flip side of that is it kind of does just have its own beast, like it
Yeah.
creates its own identity.
It's quite an interesting point actually because I know that people kind of it's something that I talk about a lot, and I guess the example that I can think of is when people say like a Pure Gym's moved in next door, and it's like we're really worried about that. And you raise quite a good point of like actually, if you want the retention in your gym to be really good, and in turn that stops people moving away to Pure Gym, that community needs to be really good. And at the end of the day, it's your gym. You can say no to someone if you don't want them in the gym, and I know I'm generalizing here because actually some people just like to go to the Pure Gym because it's cheaper and it's just easy. But I think there is that kind of ethos that like, I mean, there's probably a lot of people out there that would agree if I said that like going to Pure Gym can be a pretty unpleasurable experience because like everything's just rammed and like there's just people on every machine sweating all over them. And yeah, like, and you hear some horror stories. So I think that element of like the community isn't just have as many members in the gym and offer them loads of really nice stuff. It's actually the people that you're inviting in and the kind of people that you actually want to be a part of that fitness community. And obviously, I think it's easier for a small group personal training to put it into action, but I think it does translate onto that much larger scale of we're a big gym. And I mean, the Fit Club in Redditch is a great example of that. Like they have a really nice core group of members,
Yeah.
and that's what kind of facilitates the gym being clean and it being a nice place. And it's nice just seeing people chatting and having a conversation. I'm sure you feel like SF46, no, FS46 is is a success when you're looking at the members having conversations with each other and
Yeah,
and saying, let's go for a coffee. And I think if I'm a member in a gym and I'm looking at that and seeing, two people just getting on that clearly don't know each other, that's like, yeah, I'm
it's a
in a
special
nice
thing.
place. It is a
Yeah,
special thing.
it's
And
a
I think
special thing.
that makes me want to stay there and, maybe not crash their conversation, but like it makes me want to go like, oh, maybe I can have a chat with that member of staff later. Or
Yeah, and you influence that culture, and I think as the owner, you have to protect it. So even down to like, I've had to get rid of members who, even though they passed the coffee test and they're in, maybe like you realize this person's not great for the community for one reason or another. So even down to the point where you'd be prepared to get rid of someone to protect it. You can't have a bad apple in such an intimate space.
I just want to touch on, obviously, well, let's go through the 5 pillars quickly. There was I'll let you do it because
Try and
I will
remember.
crush it.
You got
I mess up.
marketing,
Yeah,
sales, operations,
yeah,
um, client delivery and coaching experience,
yeah.
and then you've got team development. Team development. There we go.
Okay. I mean, actually, that's perfect. So marketing was one I wanted to touch on just really briefly. Obviously, the rebrand is a pretty big thing for you
It's a,
guys.
it's a
I
big
think,
project.
yeah, it is
Yeah.
for sure. And I think like that is just prime like marketing. What's made you guys think that you need to rebrand, and then how? Yeah, why have you done that basically?
The reason we did it was because when we opened Fitness Studio 46, I was 20 years old, or maybe 21. Hugo was 16. So like he was sitting his GCSEs and then coming up on a night time and like getting the gym prepared and stuff. So we were basically children when we opened that gym. And the reason I wanted to change it now is because we've just evolved so much. Like, I'm married, I've got a 2-year-old, the gym's evolved, the coaching evolved, Hugo's married. So I felt like the old brand no longer reflected where we were at in our development. So I didn't want to ditch the reputation because we had such a good reputation. Like people who've been through our gym have had great results. We've got over 100 5-star reviews on Google. So like we have a good reputation attached to that name anyway, which is why I wanted to. It's probably why it's hard to remember
Yeah.
because Fitness Studio 46 was still a great thing. It's evolved into what is now FS46. And with it, it's one thing is just the name to have like an outward reflection of it changing. We've changed the logo. We've changed our window manifestation. So it looks really different on the front of the gym now. We've changed the A-frame. We'll change all the member t-shirts. So there's like all those external facing things, but it's the internal as well. So we've really clarified our messaging. We've clarified what fitness is to us and why it's so important in our lives. Because the reason fitness is important to a 16-year-old doing his GCSEs is not the same reason as like, a married 28-year-old with a kid, 27. So, it's really changed for us, and I think we just had to put a marker in our story that it's different now, and it's really resonated well with the clients as well. Even this week, we've seen like an increase in lead conversions because the messaging's changed on the website. So we've had more contact to coach forms being filled out than usual this week after the rebrand. So it's positive.
Yeah, that's very interesting, and I guess it's like a rebrand that's done. The reasoning for that rebrand is actually quite like very wholesome.
Thank
It
you.
is. It has it made sense because you guys have evolved so much, and I feel different from when I was 16 or 21 or whatever it is, and so I'm not saying I need a rebrand, but it is that kind of thing of actually like the business has changed because you guys have changed so much, so it
Yep.
is overdue that facelift, and that is a very actually interesting train of thought, really.
And even from a business operation standpoint, it's like if we had a client who was like training with us in our first year, the gym is very, very different now in terms of the session delivery, in terms of the experience, the feel. We've changed equipment. Like we've done so many different things. We've changed the structure of the workout. We've created new workouts. We've hired new coaches since then. So I think it was a chance to re-engage people. So we were very active, sending emails, messages, really shouting about the fact that this has shifted over, and it has led to previous clients coming back. We've had obviously more clients inquiring, new
Mm.
clients. We've had our current clients more engaged. They were wanting to buy t-shirts. We rolled out like a t-shirt offer with some extra sessions. So they were all like pre-ordered their t-shirts and stuff. So it's just been like a real catalyst to get some excitement around the gym again.
It is that element of it shows that you're thinking about the gym and you're changing the gym,
Mm.
and that makes the existing community be like, oh, this is cool. Like we're experiencing something new and it's exciting in the gym and everything's changing. And again, it's from that outside world. It gives you something to shout about and something to actually say, like, we're rebranding. We look sexy and flashy now and can't
Yeah.
remember our own names.
Yeah.
It's all that
I'm
good
gonna
stuff.
forever get the name wrong.
In terms of the social media marketing, just really quickly, we'll touch on.
Sure.
Take it away. What do you do?
I used to try very, very hard on that front, like the James Smith style stuff, like recording videos of me walking around the area talking about fat loss and stuff, and subtitled videos, and we'd edit them and turn them into blogs and all different kinds of things. It was very time consuming and it never took off. So I tried for, I'd say 3 or 4 years posting every single day, and like it just didn't really generate anything for the business. So when we started focusing on these other systems we were building, we were like, okay, we can't spend this much time on social media whilst building out all these systems. So let's just push it to the back burner. We're going to go much more in person networking. We're going to go much more like building relationships with local businesses and the community. So we're going to turn our social media into basically like a behind the curtains look at the gym. So all we do now is we will take footage of a client doing an exercise, or we'll take footage of a group of people working out, and then we will post every single day on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and we will just, so say for example, it's like a client doing a Bulgarian split squat. We'll talk about why a Bulgarian split squat is valuable for the types of people that we train. That will go out on like a Monday, and then we'll do a group shot for a Tuesday, and it's like why training with other people so much better for your motivation to train in the gym. Um, that will go out on the Tuesday, and we just run that very simple structure, Monday through Sunday. And currently, one of our quarterly projects is going to be to start getting like more um, high quality content around the actual coaching. So if somebody goes to our Instagram now, they'll just see a lot of clients training. And I think if you go to our Instagram or Facebook over the next 3 to 6 months, as we bring in some higher level video production, you're going to see more of our clients being coached. So we really, really want to start to highlight like how different the coaching is.
Yeah. Okay. That's interesting. And I think I didn't realize you guys did so much on social media. So
Mm.
you said that it was a lot of work for the high end video production. What specifically changed there? Just literally because you're filming a member, it's not really like script planning or
It's so quick.
cutting back
Yeah,
and
it's
forth. Yeah.
literally it's so quick. If I see a member doing something like unique, maybe they'll be doing like we set our members what we call KPIs. Um, Probably a bit of a business thing there as well.
Very American.
Yeah, very American. But they might say if they've got like a damaged rotator cuff, we'll give them a shoulder rehabilitation exercise. It might look quite unique, so we'll record that and then we'll post that. So the coaches, whoever's coaching, is going to try and get 1 or 2 clips across their coaching block, and then we'll put them in a shared file. And Hugo, who's responsible for the upload, he'll just collect the videos, generate the captions, and just upload them. So it's a very, very quick process. We're not labor intensive on our socials.
And you just follow the same script, the same like structure every week. Like Monday's this, Tuesday's that.
Yes. Yeah.
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 Okay. I mean, that's, to be honest, and
It's simple.
yeah, it's simple, it's easy,
It's
and I mean,
quick.
has that made like a big drastic difference on the social media? What have you seen the actual effect of that?
It's made no difference. So like the accounts had very slow, steady growth,
Yeah,
but
fair.
like we were spending 3 hours on a post, and now we can do it in 3 minutes, and there's no
Mm.
difference. So for me, that's a win.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Like we're just present. We're there every day. I think members like seeing a clip. If they're in the clip, they might
Share.
tag it or like it. But we really prioritize our marketing on in person marketing activities, and then I am a little bit more active on my independent LinkedIn.
Yes.
So like I will go into the local businesses on my LinkedIn profile. So like let's say there's a law firm around the corner. But there is one. I think there's 4. I just headhunt specific people, and then I will post like more thoughtful content on my own individual LinkedIn, and that might then link to a connection. Or if somebody does follow me back, I'll message them and say, "Oh, hi, we're neighbours. If you want to come down to the coffee shop, grab a coffee. Like it's on me." So I really kind of use social in a very targeted way to get to people who we think are our client avatar locally.
Yeah.
And then I will message them, engage with them, and try and get them to come down.
That's serious business development. That I used to do that in my old job.
Yeah, yeah.
More power to you. I think that's actually quite an interesting thing. Is like the community partnerships and the local partnerships. Have you found that that's had a good effect? Do you offer corporate memberships, or is it literally just like you want to advertise within the businesses?
Yeah, so we do corporate, we do private sessions for corporate. So like they can hire an hour in the gym, and they can send sort of like 6 of their team down.
Okay.
So we do offer those. I offer consulting for local businesses as well. So if they're doing like wellbeing campaigns, I'll go in and consult on how to put that together effectively. We'll go in and offer workshops and training around training, health and fitness, nutrition. Um, so we have a lot of those partnerships, and it's just trying to really nurture those has been probably the biggest key to our growth.
Yeah. Well, I guess that was kind of my question. How has that affected the business? It's been just a massive success, I
It's,
guess.
it's everything. So as well as joining BFU in 2021 and getting these systems, I also joined our local chamber of commerce
Yes.
and just started going to networking events, which are sometimes very tedious and like you meet some interesting characters. But then you also get in front of some really well established local businesses.
Yeah.
And those connections have led to my playbook is I'll go to an event, I will network the room, I'll get them all on LinkedIn. I'll message them afterwards saying, like, great to meet you, really enjoyed your presentation, really enjoyed our conversation. I'd love to carry it on, buy you a coffee. Why don't you come down to the local coffee shop? And then we'll inevitably end up talking about their health and fitness as well. Whilst we're there, I'll let them check out the gym. And it's just really layers in that human connection.
Mm.
They might not want to try anything out then, but when they do eventually look in the mirror one day and decide they want to get in shape, um, hopefully I'm top of mind.
The community aspect of partnering with local businesses as well, like it's a business that's way more likely and happy and probably won't even notice paying for it,
Yeah.
as opposed to the people paying for it. And like they're an easy income stream. It counts towards the works like HR and wellness programs if they have them and stuff
Yep.
like that. So yeah, no, they are a bit of a no-brainer.
It is a win-win-win.
Yeah.
Like the client doesn't have as much money going out of their pocket. Maybe it's fully paid for by the business. Maybe it's part subsidized.
Mm.
Maybe it's I forget the term, but it's like you can tell I don't work in corporate. It's salary sacrifice.
Salary sacrifice, yes.
Salary sacrifice, yeah. So they're better off financially. It's an easier sell for us because you're selling direct to business. Like you said, it doesn't really impact them that much as somebody's personal finances. Like the business, they can just put it through as an expense. And then the business is seen in a really good light. So we recently finished a partnership with a local construction firm. They did a 6-week trial where they had two sessions in our gym. They had 12 people come and do the thing, and we've kept members on. Even after that's finished, we've done like a joint press release about how successful that's been. They even noticed that, like in their tuck shop in the office, they reported less chocolate sales because people just stopped buying chocolate, and they had to double their fruit order from the local market because people were just making healthier choices.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
for them, that's like a huge win. And we were able to facilitate that outside of our usual coaching hours, which is a massive win for us.
Harry, thank you so much for joining us on the Gym Owners Forum podcast. That was a really, really interesting look at, how to run a business successfully and mindset.
Thank you so much, Tom.
That is all for this episode of the Gym Owners Forum podcast. As always, thank you so much for listening. And thank you again to Harry for, to be honest, just being a real shining example of what it shows when you really standardize all of your procedures and really automate them. You care about your member experience and you care about and foster your community within the club. It leads to success. If you enjoyed that episode and you want more like it, then head to any streaming platforms where you can get podcasts and search for the Gym Owners Forum podcast. If you want some more quick fire actionable tips and tricks, check the bio for our socials and give us a follow. And make sure to check out our site in the bio also for news on events and joining the community. See you on the next episode.